Most men think that once they get a penile implant, the penis should become completely firm from the base to the tip. But what happens when the shaft is rigid and the head of the penis still feels soft, unstable, or even floppy? Is something wrong with the implant? Was it undersized? Or is this something completely different? Today I'm going to break down exactly why this happens, what it means, and how we fix it. Hello, my name is Dr. Jonathan Clavell, urologist and penile implant expert in Houston, Texas. And today I will break down one of the most under-discussed topics in penile implant surgery, Floppy Glans Syndrome. We will answer common questions like what is the function of the glans penis? Why can the glans stay soft even when the implant is working? How common is this problem? What are the risk factors? And what does it mean if the glans droops upward, downward, or to the side? And most importantly, how do we fix it? Let's dive in. Before explaining what floppy glans is, we need to remember what the glans penis is actually supposed to do. The glans is not just the tip of the penis that gives it a cosmetic appearance and gives a sensation. The glans has a function and a purpose. It serves as a cushion for the distal ends of the corporal bodies during sexual intercourse. In other words, it acts like a soft cap at the end of the penis. During a natural erection, the glans fills with blood through the corpus spongiosum and becomes engorged. That engorgement helps with penetration, helps with sensation, and helps distribute pressure at the tip of the penis during intercourse. If you think about it, the shaft gives you the strength, but the glans is what allows you to be able to penetrate in the first place. It is the cushion for the corporal bodies. Without the glans, a man's partner will likely feel two sticks, which can easily lead to pain and discomfort during intercourse. In the past, we have talked about cold glans and what treatment options we have for when this happens. But today, I want to talk about floppy glans. So, let's first define the problem. Floppy glans refers to a situation in which a penile implant is providing good rigidity in the shaft of the penis, but the glans remains unstable, hypermobile, or droopy. Some research studies call it SST deformity because it most commonly droops downward and resembles the nose of the Concorde supersonic transporter aircraft. In simple terms, the implant is giving you a good erection in the shaft, but the head of the penis is just not stable or not well supported. Other patients may say that the glans bends or falls during penetration, or that it does not point in the direction they expect. So even though the implant is technically working, the erection may not feel complete. Now, how common is floppy glans? The answer is it is thought to be rare, or at least it is definitely under-recognized and under-discussed. Research studies describe it as occasionally encountered during surgery without any specific prevalence. Some research studies do say that it occurs in less than 1% of patients, while others say that it happens in 1 out of almost 1,000 patients. In my experience as a high-volume implanter, I can safely say that it is fairly rare for this to happen, which is why a lot of men are not counseled about this before surgery. And many surgeons do not specifically bring it up unless a patient specifically asks about this. We tend to see it more commonly in men with more advanced erectile dysfunction, men with Peyronie's disease, men with long-standing poor blood flow to the penis, men with significant corporal fibrosis or scar tissue, and men undergoing revision surgery. In other words, the more difficult the anatomy or the more advanced the dysfunction is, the higher the chance that that glans may not behave normally after implant placement. Many men considering implants wonder, why does floppy glans happen in the first place? The answer comes down to anatomy and blood flow. During penile implant surgery, we place cylinders inside the corpora cavernosa. These are the two erectile chambers responsible for the main rigidity of the shaft. But the glans penis is not part of the corpora cavernosa. The glans belongs to the corpus spongiosum, which is a different structure. For most men, the tips of the corpora cavernosa end at the level of the glans, specifically midway through the glans. However, as with any other part of the body, there will be anatomical variations, which in layman terms mean that everybody is different. There are some men with a big glans compared to the shaft. Others have a wider shaft and a smaller glans. For some men, the tips of the corporal bodies end at the tip of the glans. For others, at the base of the glans. This is how God made us and how our bodies have developed during our lives. Now, when it comes to implant surgery, the cylinders of the implant give rigidity to the shaft only, but the glans on the top still depends on your blood flow in order to become full and engorged. Let me say that again because this is a key concept. The implant inflates the shaft, but it is your circulation that fills the head. And that engorgement only happens when we are aroused. So if a man has poor blood flow to the glands or poor support to the glands, he can still have a soft or droopy glands even when the implant is functioning properly. Now, let's talk about the different causes and risk factors for floppy gland syndrome. Number 1, prolonged or severe erectile dysfunction. If a man has had severe ED for a long time, then the blood flow not only to the corporal bodies but also to the glands may be compromised. Over time, tissues that are not getting good oxygenated blood may start to atrophy. And when atrophied, the corporal bodies may start shrinking and regressing away from the gland's penis, which can lead to a floppy glands. Number 2, Peyronie's disease. Peyronie's disease creates scar tissue at the level of the tunica albuginea, which can distort the anatomy of the penis. It can change the relationship between the corporal bodies and the glands. And in some patients, it can affect support at the distal penis. Men with severe curvatures getting a penile implant often lack gland support at the tip, which can lead to hypermobility of the head of the penis. In addition, men with Peyronie's disease often have some degree of vascular compromise or corporal fibrosis. Number 3, corporal fibrosis or scar tissue. Whenever the corporal bodies are fibrotic, which is a term that we use for dense scar tissue, and this fibrosis is whether from Peyronie's disease, long history of intracavernosal injections used. Yes, using injections like Trimix for a long time can lead to corporal fibrosis. History of prior priapism, prior implant infection, prior surgery, or long-standing erectile dysfunction. The surgeon may not be able to safely dilate all the way up to the tip, or that tip of the corporal bodies regress away from the glans penis and the cylinders may not expand symmetrically. This can affect how the glans is supported at the distal end. Number 4, undersizing or misplacement of the implant. This is a very important one. If the cylinders are too short, they may not extend far enough distally to adequately support the glans. Unfortunately, many men quickly assume that the reason they have a floppy glans is because their surgeon undersized their implant, which is not always the case. There are many men with prolonged ED that have fibrosis at the distal end of the corporal bodies, which does not allow us to safely dilate. We cannot force dilation distally because this can lead to a perforation during surgery, which may force us to abort the surgery altogether. Therefore, during dilation, a surgeon needs to be safe. This is when having a high volume and experienced surgeon becomes crucial. We cannot always predict who will have an instability of the glans, and this is something that we only encounter when we are performing the actual surgery. And unfortunately, if the cylinders are undersized, the shaft may become rigid, but the glans may be floppy or droop because there is not enough support behind it. Number 5, uneven cylinder tips or asymmetric distal placement. If one cylinder extends farther than the other, or if one side is providing better support than the other, then the glans can deviate or droop in a specific direction. This is something that can occur in men with misplaced cylinders, which can happen during challenging cases of fibrosis during which a surgeon may mistakenly cross from one side to the other, which we call cylinder crossover. Fortunately, this is something that can be addressed at the time of surgery. If you suspect having cylinder crossover, a high-volume surgeon should be able to address this without any major hesitation. Outside of crossover, there are some cases in which a man can have fibrosis on one side and not the other, or they have a wider shaft with a very narrow glans, or sometimes the distal corpus, which may make it seem as if the cylinder tips are uneven, but the real problem is that the glans is just too small to fit 2 cylinder tips. Did you know there are different types of floppy glands? This is where things get interesting. The direction in which the glans droops can actually give us some clues as to what the problem is. The most common type of floppy gland syndrome is the ventral or downward droop, commonly defined as SST deformity. If the glans bends or droops downward, this is often related to lack of distal support. Most of the time, this happens secondary to undersizing, which means that the cylinders are just too short. However, this needs to be differentiated from something called true hypermobility of the glans, which is evident even when the cylinders are properly sized. True hypermobility may be seen as a result of poor structural support of the glans by the tips of the corporal bodies, as we see in cases of severe fibrosis. The second type of floppy glands is when patients have the glans bending upward, or what we call a dorsal droop. This can sometimes happen when the cylinders are slightly oversized or the tips are placed ventrally. I personally have seen this type in patients with Peyronie's disease that present with severe dorsal curvatures, and patients that undergo penile implant placement via the infrapubic approach. If not identified and corrected, this deformity may lead to something called extrusion, which is the term used when the tip of the implant is about to poke out through the skin. If the glans bends to one side, what we call a lateral droop, that is a third type, that can be due to uneven cylinder positioning, asymmetric distal corporal dilation, crossover of the cylinders, asymmetric fibrosis, or one cylinder extending farther than the other. I've also seen this in guys that have properly placed cylinders, but their anatomy provides for a very wide penile shaft with a much smaller glans in proportion to the shaft. And when the cylinders fully inflate, one of the tips gets dispersed to the side, which makes the glans look like it's floppy. So the way the glans droops is not random. The direction can actually help us understand what is going on underneath the glans. So now, let's talk about treatment of glans hypermobility. How do we fix floppy glans? A common debate among surgeons is whether we need to address the floppy glans at the time of placement of the penile implant, or do we address this at a later date? Some surgeons believe that in the case of a correctly sized cylinder placement, the subsequent capsule formation around the cylinder tip or blood flow during arousal often corrects the problem without any surgical intervention. This is one of our unanswered questions. As surgeons, we sometimes need to determine whether the problem may improve with non-surgical management, and in some men, specifically early after surgery, healing is still occurring. Swelling is going down, tissues are adapting, blood flow during arousal may improve over time. In these patients, we may consider observation, cycling of the implant, and sometimes medications like Viagra, Cialis, or Trimix gel to help improve blood flow to the glans, which will help stabilize the glans on top of the cylinder tips. So not every patient with a floppy glans needs surgery right away. Personally, in cases of mild floppiness, I prefer to wait and see how the patient responds. And if surgery is needed in the future, we can proceed at that time. If it is something obvious, severe, or the patient has traveled from another state or another country to have surgery with us, we take advantage of the situation and try to address it at the same time of penile implant placement to avoid them traveling back to Houston. But this is something that we decide during surgery. However, if the problem is structural or persistent, then surgery may be necessary. And what do? It depends on what is the etiology or the real problem. If the floppy glans has occurred as a result of incorrect cylinder size or incorrect placement of the cylinders, like what happens with crossover, surgical correction should involve removal of both cylinders and attempt for reimplantation with properly sized cylinders. That is, we remove the cylinders and try to properly place the cylinders with the correct size. If there is true hypermobility, which is when there is floppy glans despite properly placed cylinders, we can perform a simple procedure called glandulopexy or Glanspexy. A glandulopexy is a procedure in which a surgeon places sutures underneath the head of the penis in order to secure the glans to the distal corpus or tunica albuginea, which will help stabilize the glans and prevent drooping. In simple terms, we place a stitch to anchor the glans so that it has better support and better alignment with the shaft. This is like putting the reins on a horse and pulling the glans down to anchor it well on top of the tips of the cylinder. This surgery requires a small incision at the level of the circumcision line. It is outpatient, it does not involve exposing the cylinders, and hence very low chance of complications. A Glanspexy is often very effective in men whose main problem is mobility or instability of the glans. In some men with complex anatomy, especially those with Peyronie's disease or severe scar tissue, we may need to combine techniques. We may need to revise the implant, correct the distal support, and perform a glandulopexy or other adjunctive maneuvers in order to optimize the final result. At the end of the day, the goal is not just to create a firm shaft, the goal is to create a stable, functional, natural looking, and natural feeling erection from base to the tip. A good implant result is not just about rigidity, it is also about alignment, support, penetrative function, and overall satisfaction. So what is the key message here? Floppy glans does not necessarily mean that the implant has failed or that it was improperly placed. In many cases, the implant is actually doing its job very well. The issue is that the glans depends on blood flow and support that may not be fully restored just by placing cylinders in the corpora. This is why some men can have a strong shaft but still feel that something is not quite right at the tip. In summary, floppy glands after penile implant surgery happens when the shaft becomes rigid but the head of the penis remains soft, unstable, or droopy. This occurs because the implant gives support to the corpora cavernosa, but the gland still depends on blood flow through the corpus spongiosum and proper structural support at the tip of the penis. Risk factors include long-standing erectile dysfunction, Peyronie's disease, corporal fibrosis, undersizing or misplacement of the implant, and asymmetric distal support. The way the gland droops downward, upward, or to the side can help us understand that the underlying cause and guide us with the treatment. The good news is that the floppy glands does not necessarily mean that the implant has failed. And in many cases, it can be improved with proper evaluation, medical therapy, revision surgery, or a Glanspexy procedure. If you're dealing with this problem or are considering a penile implant and want to understand how to optimize your final result, seek out a surgeon who understands not just how to place an implant, but also how to manage all of the fine details that make any erection functional, stable, and natural. Because at the end of the day, this is not just about placing a device, it is about restoring confidence, intimacy, and quality of life.